Hey everybody, being told that I'm live now, so welcome to this run of Nobunaga's Ambition. It's a strategy game by Kyoei. I've been playing it since I was pretty young. I'm pretty excited to show it off. So we're starting on the character selection screen here. We're going to go with Oda Nobunaga, as he's got a pretty strong start and is less likely to have some negative consequences at the beginning of the game. Right here we have some stats that I'll talk over real quick. The important ones here being health, the one at the top left that's sitting at 97. That's going to dictate, if I get sick or not. We'll talk about what the effects of that are later. Drive gives me a little more damage in combat. Luck reduces my chances of getting a plague or typhoon, which I'll talk about later. Charisma is sitting at 86, which is pretty low, but should be fine, but prevents revolutions and uprisings and things like that. So we're going to go ahead and get started here. As soon as we hit everything is okay, hitting yes, we'll go ahead and start the timer. So here we go. Alright, and so we're playing on very easy for a multiple set of reasons, most being that the AI is a little bit easier. In that the AI is not super smart, and we can kind of manipulate that. So the first thing I'm going to do is turn off all the animations. Our message speed is set to fastest, and we're going to save. So next, we're going to set our taxes to 50. So we'll talk briefly about taxes. Anything over 50% when it comes to taxes will result in a degradation of your loyalty and wealth, which we'll discuss a little bit later as time goes on. So setting it up to 50 prevents that from happening. So that allows me to not have to really worry about maintaining it, and then we immediately go ahead and get a plague. So that's not great, but we can work with it. So we're going to go ahead and... so every fall we get resources back, and yes, I'm playing Nobunaga, but yeah, so every fall we get money and rice that we can use then to give back to our peasants to increase our strength. I'm going to actually buy troops here just as like a safety. It's a little bit lower than I wanted it to be, and I'll try to explain the menus as I go. It's pretty quick in the beginning, so we'll catch up once we get through a little bit here. So yeah, I'll continue to, this is what I call the ramp-up phase here. So basically what I'm trying to do is get my loyalty and my wealth, the two bottom numbers in the middle column, as high as I possibly can, as quickly as I can. This will allow me to get more money and rice at every fall. So we're going to go ahead and keep giving our rice and our money to our peasants, like I mentioned. So there's a couple other things we need to keep an eye on while this is going. Is our troop morale. So on the left column, second icon down, that's our morale. We don't ever want that to drop below 100, as that leaves us pretty vulnerable to an uprising, which would lead me to combat, which obviously is slow and could potentially kill me. So we want to make sure we keep that above 100 at all times. Another thing we're paying attention to here is obviously our gold and our rice. If we ever end up with 0 rice, we will die. So anyone could invade us, we lose instantly. So we want to avoid that. Rice is the second icon down in the middle column. So we want to try and keep as close to a 1-to-1 ratio for troops to rice as possible for combat reasons. What we also want to see here, just in general, in terms of the map, there's 17 territories we have to take over in this particular scenario, and what we really want to see is one leader. I'm sitting on 17, that's my leader, but we want to see one particular leader start taking over the whole map as best we can. So we don't really have control over that. It's all RNG. We just kind of hope it happens. And then that way we can actually chain attacks from one territory to the next using a strategy that I've come up with. So we'll talk more about that once it's happening. So again, just still ramping up here. We're almost ready. So we have over 1,000 loyalty and wealth at this point. This will be the last time that I'll give all of my resources to my peasants. Next we'll start building up our army. So the main plan here is to basically zerg. So we're going to get as many troops as we can, move from territory to territory, and invade that way to take over the whole map. So we're not really worried about our skill. Like, there's a skill stat that determines how much damage you do in combat. There's also an option for adding rifles to your army, which we're not going to pay attention to really. Basically, we just want the most possible army strength that we can get in terms of like numbers. So let me go ahead and continue this. So I'm playing orange, so 17 is my territory. I just saw the question in chat. So we're going to try and move out from there. So non-aggression pact from 8. So we're going to take this. Let me talk a little bit about pacts and marriages. So the AI at any point in time can offer either an alliance or through a pact, which is like short term, usually lasts about 10 turns, and you like promise to not attack each other. That being said, you can still attack them as long as you're attacking from a territory that's not the leader's main territory. So in this situation, I can't attack 8 from 17 because I made an agreement with him that I wouldn't. That being said, if I took over 9, for example, I could then attack 8 regardless of our alliance. So pacts are pretty silly. There's almost no benefit to them at all in terms of like you putting one together for yourself. But if people offer you money to do that, it makes sense to do that whenever you can. So we're just about ready to start attacking here, and unfortunately the map's looking a little too organized in that there's not really one big power. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go for this turn. We'll go for 9. I think 9 will give us some options, so we're gonna go ahead and do that. So we're gonna go up here. That should be fine. So we're just gonna go to war. So a few notes about war. So again, we want to make sure we're bringing enough rice for our troops, so we need a 1-to-1 ratio there. Something else we need to do is make sure that we can only attack with as much gold as you have. So you should have again at least a 1-to-1 ratio with gold. It doesn't even let you attack if you don't have at least that ratio. So we're going to go ahead and move our troops here. Something I did forget to do is do the arranging of our units here, and I'll explain that in a bit, but it actually isn't too bad. It actually works out in our favor for this particular set of combat here. I'll explain a little bit of the territories and stuff, or the terrain while we're here. So you'll see green hills, the gray mountains, like the brownish dirt, the little city there in the south, and then there's a castle where the blue unit is currently. The brown terrain is like basically neutral terrain. Nobody has an advantage. Nobody has, there's no benefit to being on that. You're both neutral parties going head to head, and it's just measuring up like your unit type and your skill levels. The green mountains, that green hilly areas, if you're attacking, you get an advantage. So like if you're attacking someone on a brown square from a green square, you have advantage. If you're both on green squares, then no one has an advantage, similar to just being on the brown squares. So then there's the gray mountain tiles. You can't cross those. Those are impassable. You can use those to manipulate the AI a little bit in some situations if you get attacked. Hopefully we won't be attacked at all in this run. That's the plan. We want to be the attacker, so we're going to make sure that's the case. And lastly, we have this castle, which I'm about to move on to, and there's the town below. So towns give you a big advantage if you're being attacked while you're in one. So if you're defending in a city, it gives you an advantage. Whereas if you're attacking from it, there's really no advantage. But the castle gives you a huge boost in defense and attack power. So we're going to use that a bunch throughout the run, and we'll suffer the consequences of people being in the castle quite a bit. Alright, so that was an easy win. We want to try and scoop up one more territory, and then we kind of start the second phase of combat here. Okay, that's good. Yellow's taking some territories. First thing we want to do always when we enter a new territory is adjust the taxes. And And then we want to arrange our units. So this is what I meant to do before. So there are 3 types of units in this game. There's infantry, cavalry, and riflemen. Riflemen are the strongest, but they're the hardest to maintain. So they require that you purchase rifles from a merchant to be able to even allocate resources to that unit. Every time you purchase units, that value of arms goes down. So you're constantly in a battle to try and maintain that amount of rifles if you want to go that route. The next unit that we'll talk about is the infantry unit. It's pretty basic, doesn't have any advantages. It's just a basic infantry unit, and actually is at a disadvantage versus riflemen. Riflemen do extra damage to those units, and cavalry as well. So it's not really the best unit you can go with. So what we go with in the speedrun is cavalry. So cavalry is no maintenance at all, so you don't have to buy anything special. And you can also they also do bonus damage to infantry, which will matter because the lead unit is always infantry. So we basically make one giant cavalry unit. So the benefits of that are actually twofold. So in this game, if you have roughly 3 times as many troops as a unit you're going to attack, the computer, if they have a territory to run to, will actually just run. So I could attack someone with 500 troops. They have 200 sitting in as their lead unit. I could just park my character or that particular unit next to their lead unit and they'll run away. So we're going to use that quite a bit to chain attacks through territories. And I'll explain a bit more once that's coming up. Alright, we're getting sick quite a bit here, which is obnoxious. We're going to move some units up here, and we're going to attack from there. So next fall, when we get our money, we're going to go ahead and do that. There's no merchants around. Getting pretty unlucky with the merchants as well. So we have 1,000 units here. This will be a nice, easy transition into another territory, which will send supplies up here. So the premise here is, like, we want, every time we take a territory, we want to try and work it into a position to be in a really good economic situation, so that we can just constantly keep pushing with our lead territory, since they need to have enough gold and rice to actually attack. So we're going to do an attack here, and this will be an example of seeing a leader run away. Alright, so I thought I rearranged these, but I didn't. Shouldn't matter though. I didn't arrange them from that territory, so feeling the consequences of that at the moment, but no big deal here. We'll still have over 3 times the amount of troops than the leader has, so he'll just run away after this fight, or even once I park any unit next to him. Alright, so again, this is one of the tougher territories to take, as you kind of have to fight through a bunch of units to get to the lead unit. The computer will always put their leader in the castle. They won't ever deviate from that plan, at least on very easy, so it's pretty predictable, and you know what you're getting into whenever you go into a fight. So how do you tell if a leader is in battle? So you'll see I'm the red team, so the top right corner there, that's my unit, and it's just a circle with a brown circle within it. So that means my leader is not with the attacking force. You'll see down the bottom left there, or like the middle of the map, the blue unit has a yellow circle with a yellow plus in the middle. So that means that's his lead unit. So because this guy has another territory that's attached to the territory I'm attacking, he's going to run away as soon as I put any unit that is larger than him next to his position. So we're going to see that here in a second. So I have about 3 times. It should be enough to force him. I'll move the rifles and the infantry up just in case. Okay, so see, he just ran away, didn't try to fight, anything like that. So that's the advantage of having one large troop unit. So I'll go ahead and fix those now, because I'm tired of that happening. So usually you only have to do this on the first territory, and then it's fine the rest of the time. but because I forgot, I'm kind of paying the consequences now. Alright, so we're going to attack again here. If 14's leader is there, so we're going to go ahead and attack him now. So, same idea. We're just going to push, attack, and he'll run away. So, again, this is set up the correct way now. So you'll see that my lead unit has almost nothing in it. My cavalry is huge. So I'll go ahead and just move him in front of their leader, and he'll run away again. Yeah, so it definitely would make sense to be more strategic if you were playing casually, but in that particular scenario in the last fight, it was an oversight by me to not rearrange my army in this fashion. So I wouldn't have had all those units anyway. It's actually really, really slow to have to manage 5 units versus 2. Yeah, it would have made more sense strategically to move to like the town in order to attack the castle. But you'll see here again that as soon as I get next to this unit, he's going to run away. So I get all of those troops that he leaves behind there, -1. They all become part of my army. So as I cross into other territories and do this, I'm actually gaining troops in some cases. Alright, so I'm going to make sure again that we're kind of building up our economic situation in all these other places, because not only is it important to like keep the money coming to fund the effort here, but we also want to avoid any uprisings or revolts. So like there's one right there. Wasn't us, so that's good. We can actually keep attacking from here though. We're doing pretty well. 106. Let's see what we got here. I'm just kind of eyeballing which one I want to attack next. I think I'm going to take 15. Take 15, and then that way if I attack 10, I've kind of created a little pocket of safety in the back there. So I'll explain that more once we get to that point. Okay, so in this case, he's not going to run. He has nowhere to run, he has no territories, so he's just going to stay and fight me. So in these scenarios, you just kind of eat the fact that you're going to lose troops here. As long as I end with at least 200 units in my army, I won't be counterattacked immediately. So we want to try and make sure that that happens as well. It's kind of like a measuring stick for when you attack places, to make sure you can actually achieve your goal without dying. So another thing you'll notice is I'm losing way more troops than they're losing in most cases. This is happening because we don't work on our training skill in any way whatsoever. I'm going to move him into the castle. Again, this point being a strategic point here, I'll actually do way more damage and take way less damage attacking from here. So, because my training skill is so low, and the computer is like constantly gaining training, it's like they almost have 2 turns essentially, after looking at it for a while. So, because they have such an advantage, and like maintaining skill is really, really tough, because every time you buy troops, you lose a huge portion of your training. It's not really worth spending the time to get your units up to skill to do equal damage, versus simply just zerging them and killing them really quick. So what I did here was I delegated. Delegation is dangerous. Basically, it does what it says for the most part. It lets the computer take over and finish your turns. Once you've delegated, you can never take control back. And I've had scenarios where the computer will just take my large, cavalry troop stack and sit them on the side, and let my leader walk in and die. So you don't really want to use that as much as you would think. You would think it would be super easy to just go into every fight and delegate, but the AI is not that intelligent. So we avoid that in many cases. Alright, so again, just kind of building up our economic situation across the board here. 15, so this is the territory we just took. We should check the taxes. We'll set them to 50. They go up a little bit. It's okay. And then, so now we're going to start rebuilding our army again. So, starting to buy units in other territories. 14. We want to make sure that we have the right arrangement there. Okay. And I should be saving way more than I'm saving right now, so I'm going to save now and thinking about it. See, train. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. That's okay. Sometimes your input gets eaten in these menus. It's not uncommon, so okay. Again, want to keep that morale a little bit above 100, just so there's no issues there. This place needs to, this is what's distracting me. I know this is the place that needs to be adjusted. So again, what I'm doing here is just taking all of the troop count out of all the other units and just putting it into the lead unit and the cavalry. That way I have one large cavalry unit. Okay. Buying more troops. So next on our agenda is probably to attack. We're going to go for 5 next. That way we can chain a few attacks together. Something I'm debating if I want to go 17 to 13 as well and clear them out before they get too big. So the longer the game goes and the longer nobody's moving around and fighting, the larger their troop buildup is becoming. So no one's really fighting right now, so that's leading me to believe we're going to have a slow endgame here. Let's see. And we're not getting luck with the merchants whatsoever in this one. So merchants appear randomly in territories. There's no way to tell unless you like go to the menu and check, which is annoying. But when they're there, you can sell your rice and gives you like a big boost in money. Alright, 13 just got a plague, so that answers my question. This is actually even better. Okay, so that means, yeah, so now that they're all attacking, this pretty much weakens all of them. And he just took that territory too. That's perfect. Alright, so let's see what we can do here. So his lead unit is in 13. That is fantastic. Alright, so let's see. I know I'm kind of flying through the menus there, but there's a little icon at the top that I can show. Once we have time at the end of this, I'm going to go back and I can show you all some more interesting things about this game, since I know it's a lot of menuing. So, but we're going to attack soon. We got 700 there. We're going to resupply this place. Let's see. Here we go. Again, just kind of giving our peasants resources as we can, so that, you know, once enough turns have passed, it's basically we're a big economic powerhouse that doesn't really need to stop fighting. So that's what we're going for. Alright, so unfortunately, definitely need to bring up our troop morale here. So again, if it's below 100, another negative side effect of that is that your troops can be bribed in combat, which is like one of the worst things that can happen. The computer has like a crazy high success rate with it, whereas as in most video games you have almost no success rate. So what we want to do is, again, make sure that that stat is well over 100 if possible. Getting it too high is almost counterproductive. It's weird. There seems to be some sort of underflow or something that happens with the odds of getting a rebellion. If it's too high, you're almost guaranteed a revolt, which is super weird. So keeping it between like 100 and 250 is usually a safe area. Again, we're going to see the manipulation here where I'll move next to this unit, he'll run away, he won't even try to fight. And now we can take those units from him there, take them along with us, and attack the next territory. So we're going to go for 12 next, probably. It depends on where he ran to. So again, the leader of that army ran away. He gets to pick where he wants to run to. So he ran to either 12 or 13, doesn't really matter. We're going to get him. And alright, so it looks like he ran to 10. And they both are very, very weak armies, so I'm not worried at all. So we'll take 10, then 12, and then we're going to focus taking over territory to the east, which will be a much more drawn-out battle. Roughly 6. Alright, so as you can see, I have more troops in one unit than he has in his entire army, so this will be a quick one. Some more things to talk about in battle. Again, so you have 30 days to finish a fight, so you'll see at the top left it says day. So as long as a strategy you can use when defending is something I used back in the day when being attacked is the AI, again, is not very smart. So if you're able to finish off a majority of their troops and leave you with like, 1 or 2 units, you can actually have them chase you around these mountains. So in this particular case, I could, if being attacked and defending, I could just keep moving along those mountains. They would constantly be chasing me, and I'd just drag it out for 30 days. Yeah, it is thousands of people per unit, so that's what it is. Alright, so we're going to take this territory, and here I'm going to bring a majority of my army. I haven't been doing this, and I'll explain why here in a second. But if you have less than 200 units for like in 200 troops in a territory at a time, it's pretty unlikely in the first like 45 minutes of the game that you'll actually be attacked. So that's why I always leave 200 behind. That way I'm not like constantly having to defend like back old territories and things like that. In this case, now that 10 is kind of segregated from everything else and is only surrounded by my own territories, I don't actually have to worry about that. So let's see, I'm going to play this. Yeah, okay, I was kind of hoping he would do that. I was playing it a little risky there, because if he decided to go left with the cavalry, things could have got dicey, but he didn't, so it's fine. So again, we're in the castle, so we'll do a ton of damage here. And again, this is his lead unit, as you can tell by the circle with the plus in it. And it's going to be, this will be his last territory, so he'll be out of the game after this. So we'll chase him down. We want to try and get him into a corner so that he can't, constantly keep running from us. So we'll go down left here one more time. And another reason why I'm not delegating this is the AI won't have the mindset of pinning him like this in the corner. They would literally just like chase him along the bottom of the map and kind of like endlessly chase him in circles if we let him. So I don't delegate here. I just take control to get the most direct kill despite the menus. Alright, so that eliminates Asai, who is, he's a pretty tough leader. All the leaders have their own benefits in like a really weird way, and a lot of them have very large detriments, which we can go into at the end of the run, if there's time. Alright, so now that we know we have all these territories completely sealed off, now we just play the make sure there's no revolts game. So I'm going to give gold to peasants here. Just send some. There's actually very little rice at that place, which can get weird sometimes. Sometimes if rice is really low, rebellions and stuff can pop up. So I want to make sure that that doesn't happen. I haven't been able to nail down the cause of that yet. So 13 does not need to worry about troop count anymore, so we'll move those up to the front. 17 is still on the front line. Got a merchant here, which is good, but next season's fall anyway, so we won't max it. 12, they are definitely not in the front line. We'll move those up. We'll just move all but 34 troops. Alright, so we've pretty much reset here. We'll recruit some more. I have 500 units here. I want to start investigating where we want to attack next. So 5 is like almost 0 troops in it. We should just take 5. So we're going to do that now. And we can attack with pretty much everything we have. Because again, once I take this territory, it's just my own territory surrounding me, so no big deal there. Again, he won't run here, but his army is so small, it's not going to matter. So place my leader off in a safe space, and then just attack. So yeah, if the leader dies at any point, even if you still have 500 units left or troops left, you'll lose automatically. So just to make sure, I always put my my lead unit far away, just to rule out any crazy things from happening. So we'll be able to chain attack right off of this place too, because we'll have access to both Yellow's territories. So we can attack whichever one has his lead unit in it, take it, and then we'll just attack the other one right after that. Yeah, this game has a lot of really good sounds, or rather, soundtrack. It's got a good soundtrack. And it's really easy to listen to over a long period of time, I feel like, which is super important in any strategy game, so definitely a part that I enjoy. Alright, so now we have access to 6 and 4, as I mentioned, so do a little maintenance back here to make sure we don't have any uprisings. And in an actual speed run, where if it wasn't a marathon setting, I would actually be more liberal with, because you can actually delegate territories as well. So I would actually be delegating these territories to the computer and hoping that they don't do something dumb, and just hoping that the RNG plays nice and it all works out. So this attack is gonna be a little risky, but I'm gonna try it. Let's see, because his territory 6 does not have much, but this one, he does have many units in his lead unit. But if I can get to him quickly and not lose too many units, I can actually get him to run away, and we'll collect a whole bunch. Okay. Yeah, the combat music is really good too, actually. I should have enough here. I have more than 3 times his lead unit. So as long as he doesn't move those riflemen in the way, it should be okay. There we go. So he'll run away here, theoretically. There we go. So we captured a whole bunch of troops there. So now, if we can quickly take 6, which I believe had very few troops in it, 5 will actually be safe from any sort of counterattack, which is good. So that's 14. 14 has way too many troops in it. So we need to move these guys up to the front. So 4. Gonna check our surroundings here. He's got 148. He's only got 66. He's only got 153. So let's go ahead and wrap this guy up. Actually, I'm gonna hold off on that. That's not exactly the amount of troops I'm looking for. I'm just gonna recruit and play a little safe there. Just recruit back here so he doesn't get wily and get any ideas. Alright, so make sure our morale is okay here. 4 again. We're good on that. So 11. Yeah, because this is basically just giving us some time to move some more troops up to the front lines here. We'll go ahead and send a whole bunch of money and rice up to our buddies at 4. Skip 12, 10, we don't need to worry about. We'll just give the peasants some rice here, keep them happy. Do the same here at 15. Leave some rice behind. 14 as well. So all these territories are going to become, finance for the future battles here that are going to be taking place. So let's skip that. Alright. 12. Just waiting on 4's turn here. Can we get... no merchant there. There you go. 4. Okay, so we're going to attack again here. Go to 6. Bring in 422 guys. So we're actually pretty close to done, actually, which is good. Not like close to done, but we're definitely. Actually, I'm gonna start up here. Definitely on pace to be underestimated, which is good. Because this game my PB is 39 minutes ish. But I've had it go as long as an hour and 10 minutes based on what the other territories decide to do. Leave him there. So again, he won't run away here because he has no territories to run to. But he's going to try to escape, but it's going to fail miserably. So I'll attack him here. He'll move down to the right. His riflemen will stay there. So I'll move my infantry out of the way. I'll attack his cavalry and my cavalry. So, again, instead of moving the rifleman out, which he should have done to give him room to run, he doesn't. So I can move my cavalry here. The rifleman will now move, but it's too late, because I'll take this guy out in one hit. So that wraps that up. Alright. So we're going to save as soon as we get back here. We're on pretty good pace. Just want to make sure we keep that going. And there are still a plethora of terrible things that could happen right now. So, at any given point in time, really, there could be a rebellion. So we want to, and that could cause all kinds of issues. It's like a chain reaction to that. So we'll try to avoid that with saves. Yeah, it's a weird Fire Emblem game. It's super weird. What's up with that? Anyway, continuing the. Let's talk about typhoons and plagues, since one just came up. So typhoons are they destroy your town structure. So the column on the far right there, in the UI section, the top one is your town, the middle one is your dams, and the wheat field icon there is your production. So those things also, in conjunction with your loyalty and your wealth, dictate how much how much you get in the way of resources every fall. So actually, we're going to attack one. So a typhoon will destroy your dams and your production in your town. So not really a huge deal for us in the speedrun, at least once we're through the beginning of the game. But once in the beginning of the game, if you get hit with a typhoon and it happens to wipe out your entire town, you lose all of your peasants. So you lose all of your loyalty and your wealth. So essentially, you drop down to 0. Which then almost automatically leads to like some sort of rebellion or attack or something along those lines. So, but again, that's really only a threat in the first 5 to 10 turns. So once that passes, typhoons don't really matter anymore. We're not super concerned about those. Plagues, however, the red dots that appear on territories from time to time, those are pretty awful. So they have 2 negative consequences. One is that you lose anywhere from 1% to 50%-ish of your troop count. I've seen it, like I said, do as little as 1%, as much as about half. So obviously never want that to happen in any scenario, but especially in a speedrun on one of your frontline territories. And also later in the game it can be very detrimental because a moment you show under 200 units available to you in your army, you'll almost immediately be attacked. And then that can obviously lead to, especially since we're emptying out every territory behind our front line, it really sets up the computer to just kind of domino effect through your territory and pretty much destroy your game. So we really don't want plagues to happen to our frontline territories. Another consequence of a plague, if it hits your home territory, so if it was to hit wherever Oda is stationed currently, I think he's still at 17, there's a chance Oda could get sick. So when you're sick, you can only attack with 1/4 of your total army size, and based on your health, you can be sick for multiple turns. So you could be sick for 5, 6, 7 turns, and you can just not attack. So pretty awful from a speedrun sense, for sure. Not super bad when you're casually playing, because you can use an action called rest, and that gives you back most of your your health based on how long you rest. All right, so our next move here will probably be to take 16. So that's Imagawa. Imagawa is one of the older characters that you can select, actually, not one that I've ever picked. He is one of the characters. I kind of briefly mentioned the fact that some characters have advantages. He's one of them that does. He has a chance as a computer, starting with a higher troop count than average. So he can be kind of scary if RNG is not in your favor. Alright, so I'm going to keep sending supplies to our front lines here. Take 16 next for sure. We need to... kind of hoping... yeah, okay, so that's unfortunate. The leader is not in 16. So what I might actually do is go for 2 first, if 2 is easier. Yeah, 2 only has 153. So let's do that. Let's move... so I moved my leader up to 9 there. It was kind of accidental, but doesn't really matter. Let's see. Exactly. Take some opium and call me in a few turns. Exactly. So go ahead and leave that there for now. Let's see. So at this point, we're mostly funded as much as we need to be. It's just a matter of getting through the turns. So this would be like where in an actual speedrun I'd start delegating all these back territories, but I'm not going to in this case because I don't trust the computer to not screw something up. So like a little rebellion there, that's not super great, but we can deal with that. Just recruit some more guys here. That makes up for the loss. Okay, keep going. Really looking for 4's turn right now. This guy needs to give gold to his peasants really bad. There we go. So we're going to take 2 next. That's Shingen. He is also a pretty brutal leader in the beginning. He's actually one that I opt for in an actual speedrun too, you know, non-marathon related, just because he starts at 16, which is very well attached to all the territories in that area. Okay, it's unfortunate. 17 just got a plague, so we want to make sure we get back to 17. Again, make sure we have over 200 troops there, so nothing bad happens. Man, we are getting super unlucky with the merchants. Okay, because I was really hoping a merchant would be there, and then I could attack next turn, but we're going to have to wait until we get a territory with more resources. We get a merchant here, it's fine, some extra money. And again, you can see how much time would be saved if I didn't have to keep closing these menus, and the turns were just flying through. But again, lack of trust in the computer. So let's move these guys up here. Let's start leaving a little bit more behind as we're getting later in the game. I want to try and make sure we don't run into a scenario where we get attacked. Sound, again, plenty of money and rice up here. It's good. Okay. So now we're just waiting on 4. As soon as 4 gets their turn, we can attack. Just canceling all these turns out. Okay. So plenty of troops to attack with here. Should be safe. So from here we'll go down to 3, then we'll take 16. Actually, we'll take 3, then we'll take 7, because 7's leader's there, then we'll take 16. And we're saving 8 for last. 8 is like the worst territory to try to take. And you can only attack it from 7 or 16 in a way that makes sense. So you probably noticed, like, when we go into these combat fields here, you can only place units on the side that you're attacking from. So in this case, I attack this territory from the west, therefore I can only place units in the first 3 kind of columns in the west part of the map. So with 8, the map layout, which you'll see once we actually get there, is pretty atrocious, and it kind of like funnels you down a really thin path and it kind of bottlenecks you, so you end up losing a ton of units no matter where you're attacking from. But attacking from the west or the north means that not only do you have to walk down this really long, thin path and lose all of your troops, you have to waste anywhere from 10 to 15 turns, like even getting there to start combat. So in a speed run, that's probably the worst territory to try and take, so we try to save that one for last as best we can. So we're going to be doing that in this case as well. Alright, so we took 2, no problem. Shinjin's dead. He's a pretty dangerous leader, so it's good when we can get rid of him. Usagi will be our next target, who's at 3. He's the purple territory, bottom right. So we'll take him out next. We should be able to... Let's see what he has for troops. We may need to pause again, and yeah, we're going to have to hire... He's got a bit more than the last territory, so we'll start funding 2 pretty heavily here. Try to purchase some units in 4 so that we can send them over to 2. Okay. Yeah, this map was this game was looking pretty promising, but you know, we're kind of slowing down now. You'll see as like we get into the eastern part of the map here, just because these guys are going to have a few more troops than others, and you know, it's slower going, not being able to chain attacks together. Let's see. Actually, they're all maxed out. I just want to make sure that 2 is maxed out. Pretty sure they are. There we go. Okay. So we'll do one more big purchase here, and then we will attack again. Alright, so skipping these turns for now, just so we have some extra resources in the back if we need it. Okay, I'm going to do a big bulk purchase here. Expensive. So on the right side, you probably noticed the that's the market essentially. So the rate for troops and how much you can sell rice for and things like that fluctuates throughout the game based on like how late you are in the game and like how often people are purchasing certain things. So you know it acts like a market. Right now 10.6 is a very high market rate. So it's basically every troop I buy costs me 160 gold. So that's not super great. So it's a really bad time to be buying troops, but we're almost through the game, so I can't attack yet because the morale. It's alright. So next turn we'll attack, and we're pretty much wrapped up at this point. So we'll skip these turns here. Take 3, take 7 right away, then 16, and then we'll finish up with 8, and we're out of here. Let's see. Okay, so just waiting on 2. Should probably save just to be sure here. 2. Here we go. Okay. So we'll attack with 800. 800 rice. Take this territory. We'll jump from here, as I mentioned, over to 7 next. So this is a good place to invade 3 from, because you can just plop your cavalry right in front of their army and immediately start taking stuff out. So it's a pretty quick fight when attacking from the north. If you're attacking from the west, obviously you have only access to the first 3 columns of the map there. So that's unfortunate. I didn't want him to do that, but actually I want to see if I can manipulate him to come back. So another thing which I haven't really talked about, so I'll keep him here, but so theoretically, if the lead unit is left with only 2 other units with it, the AI will drop what it's doing, like it's doing now, and try to come back and protect it. Yeah, so you'll see now he moved away from my lead unit, which I was pretty worried about. Actually, I didn't want him he would have, my leader probably would have lost that fight. So it's good that he pulled back and started coming for my cavalry. So we used that in a few other places. It hasn't really come up much in this playthrough, but you can use it to block in the lead unit sometimes by forcing them to bring their units like adjacent to the leader, and then they can't move, and you can just take them out. Let's see. Alright, so we got 3 now. Territory 3 is down. We're just gonna, let's see, we should send some resources over to 3. Plenty of rice for them. Gold. 6. 13. Alright. So as long as this guy does not have, yeah, he's got almost nothing. So we'll do this, which will force him, even with 290, this shouldn't be an issue. This will force 7 to run up to 16. And again, all I'll have to do is just move my cavalry unit up to the leader and he'll run away, so I'll inherit all these other troops. So go ahead and attack the infantry here. And I'll move up 1. He'll run to 16. So we are... Alright, so we're 2 away from winning here. Make sure we send supplies again, make sure these guys are funded and can replace any troops that we need to really quick. Make sure we're avoiding revolutions and uprisings and such. Okay, 3. Which I'm going to have him recruit. 11. So these are all western territories that we don't care about at the moment. 2 is fine. That's fine. Alright, 7. Alright, so we want to look, see what we're up against here with these last 2 territories. 115 is not bad. 228. Okay, so make sure we recruit. if we get, let's see, sound. I may just do 2 fronts here. Have this territory number 2 take out. Have them take out 16 and have 7 attack 8. So just make sure we can get the supplies over there that we need for that. There we go. Again, a lot of optimization to be had in this game too. If anybody is ever interested in picking it up, there's definitely some room for improvement. And we can attack with, oh, we can't attack here yet, not enough troops, but we're going to attack with pretty much everything we have from 2, since they'll be boxed in. 6, 12, 3, okay. Take 3, move right up there. That should definitely be enough to attack. I'm going to do one more purchase here. Oh, and of course I'm sick. Oh, that's super annoying. So, again, there's an example of when illness is pretty terrible. I was about to attack there, and unfortunately I could not because I'm ill. So, I can make sure that we're ready to attack next turn, I suppose. Save here too, just in case something goes south. Let's try and wrap this up here. Just the last fight is always, or last couple of fights are always pretty dangerous. I was really hoping 2 would go first, because I want to be able to attack with everything. 2, 8. Alright, there we go. Oh my goodness, I'm sick again. Okay, let's see. So I can't attack again because I'm sick. That checks out. So what I might do here, let's see. Ugh. See, it's like such a waste, because I would be able to totally stomp him with the 640 we have there, but we can't do anything right now because we're sick. So I think on the last turn here, I'll do a save. I'll save here, and if I end up being sick again, you can just reload. There you go. I'm not. Okay. Because at that point it would probably be faster than having to skip through all these turns. Alright, here we go. Let's finish this. So we'll attack with everything. We'll attack with everything but like 20 guys. So 6. Alright. So again, I can do that because there's nobody that can touch my second territory. So go ahead and attack. Alrighty. Yeah, this should be good. Definitely underestimated here, which is good. Probably be finishing up in the next 5 or so minutes. So slated an hour 5 minutes for this. Again, a really good run is in the high 30s, low 40s. We were kind of on pace for that, but again, once you have so many territories without delegation, you really start to lose time. So I wasn't able to finish it as quickly as you would probably going for a world record. I believe there's like no one else who runs this game. I don't think there's anything on speedruns.com, so I believe, technically speaking, whatever recorded run I have is the fastest is probably the world record, but begs the question, is it a world record if nobody else runs it? So, alright. Imagawa is finished. If 16 goes, we'll move whatever troops we have left in 16 down to 7, and then we're going to delegate our command to wrap up 7's invasion of 8 really fast, or as fast as we can. And then we'll be all done. Something satisfying about everything being one color. I don't know what it is, but I like it. Alright, so this is our last fight. And I can use this time to thank everybody. Thanks SpeedGaming for letting me run this. I know it's kind of an oddball game. Wasn't expecting it to make it in, but nice to have it in here and showcase it a little bit. I really like Koei games, so showing that they can be, there's some degree of speedrun there is really cool. I ran Mystic Arc last time on here. It was like two years ago. That was a much longer run, so it's nice to come and do something shorter. Yeah, so again, delegating here, can't take over once you've delegated, so we'll just let the cavalry go through. Yeah, 8 is pretty terrible. So again, if you were attacked from the west, you would start in the first 3 columns. The defending team would always put troops in that first 3 columns in the southwest corner. So you'd be forced to take all of those turns to try and loop around and get to their leader. Alright, so this will wrap it up. Once time stops, once the map is displayed again. So just showing that all 17 territories have been collected. That was pretty painless run, actually. I'm very happy with it. 55 minutes is fine. It could go a lot worse, so happy it went as smooth as it did. There's a very brief credit sequence here. But yeah, I actually considered Aerobiz Supersonic as a speedrun at some point too. That's actually a game that I really like a lot, to a point where I think it would hurt my soul to try and speedrun it, just because I enjoy it so much. Another game I'm very much considering is Genghis Khan 2 on SNES. That one seems like a really fun speedrun. There's multiple other KOE games that I think would be fun. There's another Nobunaga's Ambition that I've never really played too much. That's very different from this, just like it was too different. But for me at the time, but maybe you could revisit it. But there's Gemfire, which is another really fun one. I think that has a pretty active community, so lots of resources there. But yeah, thanks for the GGs, everybody. I hope it was informative. I know it's a strategy game, so there's a lot of text and numbers and things that aren't really very actiony, but hope I conveyed enough information for you to make sense. I think we're good to go, so I'll go ahead and just wrap up my stream here. And again, thanks everybody, and thanks SpeedGaming for having me, and I will see you all around.